All right, hello guys, welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Today, another relatively short daily. I've been doing a lot of these dailies, which are a bit easier for me to do because, well, they show you how to do an all-in attack, and that's always nice and fun. So thanks for hanging out, guys. Appreciate you all being here. Just still getting the replay set up even as I speak because I'm always so massively well prepared. But I do want to say we are going to be looking at the one base Ravager all in, which is going to be awesome fun. Zerg vs Terran build, we first started seeing it from basically the start of the year. A laser was the first person I saw use it back at WESG. And yeah, really good build. Oop, that transition, there we go. That black screen always scares me. So yeah, it's a pretty good build. It's quite all in. You basically need to kill your opponent with this. This is not something you transition out of. Part of what makes it so powerful is Terran players really haven't been SCV scouting for a long time. And so the big evolution that we've actually seen in Zerg vs Terran over the last few months is Zerg players scratching their chins and saying, how do I take advantage of that? What can I do to throw you off? A lot of the time it's just been spawning pool before hatchery, sneaking Zerglings around the Reaper Scout, and delaying the command center on the natural for very minimal investment. And that's why that's become such a standard opening in Korea. But rather than being a very slight adjustment to kind of inconvenience the Terran if they don't SCV Scout, this is like, hey, you didn't SCV Scout, I am going to kill you. You don't see what's going on, you're screwed. Even players who do SCV Scout this often won't know exactly how to react. Of course, it's gotten so popular in Korea that a lot of the pro gamers will now know their responses. But even at their level, it's a big frustration to have this build floating around the meta because it says you need to SCV Scout. You can't be quite as greedy in that early game. Yeah. There's a lot of complexities in the micro and the execution as well. So I'm going to talk about those a little bit later in the show. It is going to be a very quick show, though. Should be under 10-15 minutes. So let's talk through the build order here, as the specifics with any all-in build are very, very important. Now, there are two different versions of it, and we have seen this again very recently, including in GSL last night. I'll give you guys a spoiler warning later before I actually show clips from that. But yeah, we've been seeing it a lot recently. So guys, 14 spawning pool. This is the most standard way to do the build. You go 14 pool. You then drop a 14 gas. That 14 gas will go down right around 35 seconds, 33 seconds, somewhere around there. You then want to go 14 overlord, 14 second gas, and you want to put 2 drones on each gas. Now, if you guys following along in Twitch chat, you can go straight ahead and check it out. I've linked the build there for you all. So for you guys watching in YouTube, if you want to follow the written notes, just scroll down to the comments section. It's all linked right there. And that should be awesome. Okay, so you want to put 2 dudes on each gas. Now, you do not start a queen. You start a Zergling. So it's a single pair of Zerglings and a Roach Warren the moment your spawning pool finishes. And you do want to build, yeah, so you want to make sure you build 1 more drone if you need to. And yeah, let's go back and just look at that very quickly, that little part of the build. So you go, okay, spawning pool's finished. You've droned up to 15 supply, so before the spawning pool's even finished. And then you're going to go Roach Warren, pair of Zerglings, and you should be at 15 supply. 14 drones, so 10 on minerals, 4 on gas. Super low economy, no queen. Let's fast forward. Now, those 2 Zerglings are going to go across the map. They're going to try and avoid the Reaper normally. So notice I'm hiding it. The Reaper will pop at about 2 minutes. So they're going to hide up here. Wait until my Overlord sees the Reaper leave, and then they'll go across. As soon as the Roach Warren finishes, you want to start Roach production. And you just keep building these Roaches. And you want to morph them into Ravagers as quickly as possible. Also, guys, as soon as the Roach Warren finished, I put a 3rd drone on each gas geyser, and you can see I can start morphing Ravagers. The reason you want to morph these Ravagers earlier rather than later is they will get across the map quicker. They'll walk across there really quickly, and you just want to keep making Roaches and Ravagers. So I'm going right up to, here we go, we see 3 Ravagers, a Roach, and 2 more Roaches on the way. So you hit a really powerful point of about 5 to 6 Ravagers very, very quickly. and then you just keep building overlords and more roaches. There's no economic transition behind this. If you do want to do an economic transition, you will want to pull off gas at some point, because you need more minerals desperately to build things like queens and hatcheries. But you'll notice here, at 3 minutes, you're hitting your opponent's natural wall in. I am playing versus easy AI, so he doesn't have a wall in, because I just wanted to show the perfect execution of the build. So that's just there as the introduction. Super easy, super simple stuff. You basically just blast the wall down, go in and try to kill everything. So I'm going to get us into the unit tester so I can talk about some little micro techniques, which you guys might not be familiar with. And while we get in there, I am going to show you guys 1 or 2 clips of this build being used in pro play, so you can look at how they micro it as well. So just getting that ready. All right. Let's get that game started. Awesome. Okay, so first clip, guys, is going to be when I first saw the build. Now, this is also where I talk about how there's a different variation of the build. And depending on different players' opinions, I've talked to a bunch of different pros who've tried this out, who've watched other players do it, and there's no clear consensus on what's the better way to do it. The other way to do it is 12 pool. So you actually end up with 1 less drone. You can't afford the 2 Zerglings, which... Let's say your opponent doesn't SCV scout. Those 2 Zerglings are great because the Reaper gets to your side of the map, sees no natural expansion, and he goes, oh shit, there's going to be 2 Zerglings, because that's common in the meta, right? So those Zerglings then will hit the natural command center, they'll delay it, and they'll pull the Reaper home. By the time the Reaper cleans that up, there's 3 Ravagers at his base. Oh god, Terran's not prepared at all, and they just die. However, if you just go 12 pool, even though you don't have that extra distraction with the Zerglings, you will hit about 10 to 15 seconds faster. And interestingly, that's actually the way I saw the build executed the first few times. I actually saw it executed with that 12 pool. And sorry, wrong scene there. Let's see how we go. Oh, come on, baby. There we go. There we go. So this is from WESG, a laser. Most players credit a laser as inventing this build. He did this off a 12 pool, 14 gas opening. You'll notice he's got 1 less worker at just 14 workers. Actually, sorry, that's the same worker count, isn't it? But definitely, you'll notice he hits here very, very fast. This is the early rendition of the build. So you notice he gets here and starts casting Biles at about 245. On Paladino, he'd be here a little bit faster. Notice he's also dodging Reaper bombs because he's playing Major. Major's doing a very good job. But normally on a shorter map like Paladino, which is even smaller than Hab Station, I'm quite sure, yeah, you get there at about 245 or occasionally 250, whereas otherwise it's 3 minutes. So the initial kind of hitting them with the first 3 Ravagers does hit faster with this variation. However, I'm sorry the quality is low, by the way. I don't know why it's on low quality. However, you'll notice where's his 5th and 6th Ravager. With the build that I just showed you guys, you get those across very quickly. Here, the 4th one does get there pretty fast. So you do get 4 Ravagers very early, but your reinforcements behind that is a little bit slower, and that's because your extra overlords did come out slightly later. So normally I do feel like both versions are very strong. I feel like this one hits slightly harder, which usually is very powerful with all-ins. However, if your opponent SCV scouts and gets a bunker up, 3 Ravagers aren't going to be able to break that. But once you get to 5 Ravagers, it's much easier combining Corrosive Bile with their regular attacks to actually try and focus down your opponent's bunkers. We see here a lot of stutter step micro from a laser, a lot of really good execution there. Big shout out to WESG and Starlighter, by the way. Of course, this is their VOD that I'm showing right now. And Major actually holds on here. He actually does manage to defend it. You know, those SCVs trapping a lot of the Ravagers, killing them, did really well. And he holds it, and then he just underestimates it, thinks, you know, he hasn't played against this before, he doesn't realize how all in it is, and he actually starts building things like reactors and widow mines, which are not what you want against Ravagers. And yeah, he really needed to be building an extra Cyclone this whole time, and, you know, building more Marines and just getting out any fighting units that he could. I'm going to do a daily for you Terran players tomorrow, talking about exactly how to defend this. I would do it today, but it has its own little replay and series of topics. So I figure I'll just split it up and be a lazy bastard. Now, also, Gsl spoilers from last night. Stop watching for the next 2 minutes if you do not want to see spoilers. It's just going to be one game, but still, it's going to be a spoiler. So hopefully you guys don't mind. So this is shout out to GSL. This is from them. And we did see Sue. Once again, yesterday, super recently, not a few months ago like WSG, he also went for this 12 spawning pool. So you notice he went spawning pool, builds extra drones, goes 14 gas, goes another gas on 14 supply in just a moment. And let's just fast forward to the action so we can look at the micro. And in this particular game, what happened is exactly what I'm talking about with that Zergling. Runs past the Reaper. You can see the Reaper on the minimap turn around and come home. No SCV scout from TY, being a little bit greedy. And the first warning he's going to get of this rush coming his way is so delayed. It's so delayed. So check it out. Look at this Zergling just buying as much time as possible. The Reaper's like, okay, let's go scout now. Doop-de-doop. And I think he might even run past these Ravagers. He still hasn't spotted it. The Ravagers are almost at his base. He has no idea what's happening until right now at 2 minutes 45. And he's already in deep shit. So he has to cancel the command zone on the low ground. Immediately tries to build a bunker on the high ground. He's already building a reactor, which is a death sentence usually, because it just doesn't get up in time to actually build any units out of. And Sue here, notice this really good pullback micro. Always pulls back the Ravager at the front that's getting damaged. He stutter steps, he moves, he shoots. He moves, he shoots. Tries to throw down these corrosive biles on the important buildings. And if you ever do get trapped inside their base, you really start throwing these corrosive biles at your feet just to kind of catch the SCVs and Marines as they chase you. So you want to use your superior range on the Ravagers. You want to use their superior mobility. Ravagers are faster than all the early Terran units. They've got more range than all the early Terran units. So all of those things are what you want to use to your advantage. I love that Ravager floating up at the end of that game. So those are the important things to basically work out with this rush, is how can you micro those attacks and how can you make it work. So we're going to very quickly hop into a unit tester, and I'm just going to show you guys a couple of techniques in order for you to make the same sort of thing happen. So let's go into game. Let me bring up my notes on my second monitor. There we go. Make sure I don't forget to mention anything. Okay. Oh, okay. So something I forgot to mention, guys, by the way, is that you actually really need to send your overlords over to their side of the map, just in case you guys didn't pick up on that. Very important. Both first two overlords have to go straight to your opponent's natural in order to try and spot the high ground. If you can't spot the high ground, whoa. Oh, that's the wrong color. It's meant to be this guy. Okay, cool. That was a bit confusing. So let's build some bunkers and let's just talk about a few little techniques with micro. Now the first one is rapid fire. If you guys don't know about rapid fire, go and Google it. Essentially what rapid fire does is it allows you to just hold down a key, and by holding it down, it will spam out that spell. I've got to change my hotkey setup back to my regular one, which I don't normally use in this map because there's some conflicts. But notice you can just cast all your corrosive biles at once. So this is something, when you've just got a few corrosive biles, let's say these Marines are attacking towards me. And let's say I've just got like this many Ravagers or something. Okay, so these Marines are going to come at me. Now, do I want to just go like this and use all my corrosive biles in one spot? No, not at all. I'd much rather use them all spread out, use them individually. So I'd much rather do it like this. Individual. You want to just keep throwing them out like that. Throwing them in front of your opponent, and notice pulling the weakened Ravagers to the back. And that's the micro you want to be doing with this. It's all about the little details of your micro, allowing you to get value out of this superior unit, as long as you're controlling it. If you're not controlling it, stuff can get very awkward very fast. But as long as you are controlling it very well, your Ravagers just end up being this unit which your opponent cannot counteract. So this is not just a, oh, derp, did he not SCV scout, I just win. If you're not a super high level pro player, you actually do need to work on your micro a lot to make these sort of builds work. Now, also, sometimes bunkers will be up and they'll be repairing, right? So if there's SCVs repairing, if you just go in like this and you're like, let's just drop a corrosive bile, let's just drop a corrosive bile, you'll never actually kill it because it'll be repairing the whole time, right? So the magic number is a very special number which Twitch chat will remember easily. There's 400 hit points on a bunker. You need to do 7 Ravager biles all instantaneously. Or alternatively, if you manage to sync up a whole volley of shots along with 6 corrosive biles, that can work. But you need to do 7 shots all at the same time in order to take down a bunker. So you need to move right up in range, cast them all at once, and you'll see the bunker just disappear. Remember, pulling back those weak Ravagers. Lots of details to it. So if you are playing against someone who they've SCV scouted, they've seen this, if they don't go for things like siege tanks and cyclones, they don't really get a lot of maneuverability and damage output, and their whole defense actually relies purely on the bunkers staying up. So it's important for you to just take your time, siege from afar, and don't keep running into a bad position and going, oh, and then losing Ravagers like that. You've got to be much more coordinated with that. Wait until you've got the right count to just run in, one-shot a bunker, move around, one-shot a bunker, and you can take your time with it. Use that rapid fire if you're not using it already. Micro around, and you can make this work out very well. One last technique I want to show you guys. Oh, actually, I guess there's also hold position micro. So usually they'll be like, if we go back, we can do things like this. Okay, there's like a wall off and then there's a bunker, right? So often, right from early on, you won't have enough Ravagers to actually break that bunker. So once it's up, often you just want to take out the wall-in structures. But what will happen is if the Terran does something like this, so say I just A-move, right? Your Ravagers are just going to fight, right? But then if these Marines come forward, it's very easy for your Ravagers to just be idiots and to run forward to their death and start taking damage. So you've really got to use hold position. You always want to move your Ravagers into the ideal position. You'll have an Overlord also in hold position, providing high ground vision. Normally there'd be like a ramp here. And you just want to kind of spam down your corrosive biles from afar, blast down the barracks. And if you can get rid of the barracks, it's a big part of their production going. Meanwhile, you've got more and more Ravagers joining up with your army. And usually you can then overwhelm it. One last thing is sometimes there's an awkward spot where, let's say there's a ledge here, but you don't want to run up the ramp, because if you run up the ramp, you can only fit 2 Ravagers wide. So if you imagine there's a ramp here, if you've got to force your way up the ramp, to get all your Ravagers in range, you need to run really deep, and you're going to lose a Ravager every time you run up there. So what you can sometimes do is actually use shift to queue up your corrosive biles. So what you can do is you can say, oh, there's this one little area on the low ground of a cliff where I can shoot the biles from. So what I'm going to do is I can go move, corrosive bile, move back using shift. And you'll notice this is a great way to micro if you're not too confident. If you want to just do it kind of preset ahead of time, or you can just start out with the biles and then shift, move back. And this is a good way to stay out of that bunker range, to make sure you're kind of sieging from afar. So making sure you use shift, making sure you use these controls can actually be really cool and very helpful. So let's just get rid of those Ravagers.
This better be good.
Let's put a whole bunch of SCVs in here. And once again, let's just look at that standard micro, which is so important as well. Where we can go attack. So, whoops. Okay, here we go. Oh, really? Okay, the attack command is shit. That doesn't work. I almost never use that attack command, but they decided to attack to the middle of the map, and then when I started kiting, half the Marines didn't follow. That's cool. So I can just tell these guys to attack.
Been waiting on you.
I'm not sure.
Who wants some?
Oh, here we go. I was just pressing the wrong key. Okay. So once again, guys, remember, corrosive biles, you want to cast them individually. You want to keep microing. You want to pull back these weakened guys from the front. You know, you can always see who's going to be taking the most damage, because they're the guys at the front. And you can just pull them back. Box click, or just click on them and pull them back. And all of that micro is going to make you have a very good day when you're cheesing the shit out of people with your dirty, dirty builds. I'm very sorry to all the Terrans who are like, why are you teaching people this shit? But yeah, it's not that hard to stop. I really think it's all about getting the SCV scout down. So tomorrow's daily, I'll be talking about how to defend it. Check in my notes. Are there any fancy things I forgot to mention? Corrosive Bile and Rapid Fire, mentioned that. Always more roaches into Ravagers ASAP because they get across the map faster. When you're fighting Marine SCV in the open, there's that kiting, pulling weakened Ravagers to the back, placing individual biles rather than using Rapid Fire. So you've got to go button, click, button, click. Hold position micro. Sometimes you need to break your hold position. That's something I didn't mention. So sometimes you're on hold position, but then they're repairing. So you've got to like tell your Ravagers to attack some SCVs that are repairing. They pull back the SCVs. You very quickly then got to pull your guys back into their position and hold position. So there's a lot of back and forth micro. A lot of the time, the Terran player will come forward with his SCVs as well and try to repair bunkers. So it's important for you to try to put your corrosive bile around the edges of the bunker so it will hit both the bunker and the repairing SCV. And that'll make a really big difference as well for making it much harder for your opponent to pay attention. If you're not playing a super good Terran, they will often just lose the SCVs repairing the bunker. And that would be pretty awesome. All right. I think I went through everything. I definitely did. Awesome. Okay, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate the support. Don't forget to hug a watermelon, kick a walrus, and of course, punch a cactus to the moon. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye and good night.